Howard Stern all morning, Don and Mike all afternoon, and G. Gordon Liddy midday. WJFK.
Day before at 5:31 with Don and Mike, and I believe the fourth day of Chanukah. For all of our Jewish friends, cloudy, windy tonight. Low 30, sunny, windy tomorrow, 38, and Christmas Day, sunny with a high in the 30s. WJFK time 49. Here's Sherry Licker, then we're going to read the story.
Don and Mike, delays continue on the GW Parkway on the southbound side between the 14th Street Bridge and National Airport. Now, the earlier accident has been cleared. All lanes are open, but expect delays getting down from Memorial Bridge. Southbound 395, I-95, delays through Shirlington and Landmark and from Etzel Road down into Woodbridge. Along the way, disabled vehicles, second lane from the left before you get to Route 1. Outer loop delays begin between Braddock Road and I-95 on the ramps to get you to Springfield, then again at Telegraph Road to get you to the Wilson Bridge. And northbound Van Dorn Street before Franconia Road, there's an accident to look out for. I'm Sherry Licker, Metro Traffic Control for WJFK.
Thank you, Sherry.
The station with less BS.
Get out of here.
WJFK.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Don't leave yet, Sherry. Hello, Mo. Don't leave quite yet, Sherry. I'm going to open the door now. I want both of them to come in, and unless they can both behave themselves, I'm going to have to ask one of them to leave.
We want Sherry in here to separate them if they get...
I don't want her.
Charlie?
I hate you now.
I hate Charlie. Charlie is mean and dumb.
John, I don't want Charlie to be
I don't want him either.
You said that you were going to behave yourself if you came to the radio station, Charlene.
I said I hate you. That's all I said.
You
I
did
hate
not,
you.
Charlene.
Get off.
You don't understand.
Hold on. Get off? Is that what you said?
Yes.
I was on her.
Oh, you were on
I was on her. I was grabbing her.
Oh, I got
That's why she said, get off, Don.
Yeah, Don. Didn't you see it?
Charlene, would you like to hear the Hamburger James story? Could you
I love hamburgers more than pizza.
Can you behave yourself enough to sit while we're reading this?
I'll be quiet.
All right.
I tell you what, though.
Be quiet, though, because this is my favorite story. And every single year, Don tells me this. Don tells me this story.
At the first sign of trouble, I'm going to have to clear the room. One of you is going to have to leave, okay?
I'm not going to leave, Don. That's my story.
I'm not leaving. I'm not.
Don, that's my story.
My story now.
No, it's not your story
stupid.
now.
It's my story.
You're stupid,
You're stupid. You
Charlie.
All right, listen. I want both of you to leave.
No.
Both of you out now.
No, Don, I don't want to leave right now.
Now, work it out there. And then when the door opens again, I only want one of you. I don't care which one of you it is. I just want one of you.
All right, are they learning it?
Hi.
Where's your sister?
She's fine.
Where's she at?
She's fine.
Where's she at, Shirley?
She's fine, Don. She's fine. She won't be bothering us anymore.
You didn't do anything mean to your sister, did you, Charlie? You didn't do anything like you did to her last year, did you, Charlie? Charlie, you know how you get sometimes.
Not really. She was being very bad. She was being very bad, and I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do.
Is Charlene...
She won't be bothering us anymore.
Is Charlene going to be okay?
She's going to be fine in a little while.
In a little while?
She's going to be fine in a little while. I just did what I had to do, Don. That's all I did. I did what I had to do because she was being very bad, and so I did what I had to do when Charlene gets bad sometimes.
Now, Charlie, out of the three children in your family, yourself and Matthew and Charlene...
Yes.
You got all the brains, didn't you?
That's right, Don. I did. I'm the smartest one in the whole family. Charlene's not as smart as me, and Matthew's way not as smart as me. Matthew's really not smart at all. But Charlene sometimes gets really loud, and she gets very, very mean, and so sometimes I have to be the father figure. I have to be the father figure for the family. And so that's what I did with Charlene. So she won't be bothering us for a while.
You ready for the story now, Charlie?
I sure am. Can I pull up the chair now?
Put up the chair.
All right.
Now, Charlie, this year, I'm going to give you the extra long version.
Oh, good. This is my favorite story. This is my favorite story in the whole wide world.
Now, keep in mind, boys and girls, and I'm talking now not only to Charlie, but all the boys and girls, all the big ones and little ones listening right now.
Yes.
Hi, boys and girls.
Hi, Don.
Hi,
Don. Hi, Don. Hi, Mr. Geronimo.
I like that grown-up voice, Charlie. Now, the story is Remembering the King.
Yes, this is all about Elvis and Hamburger James.
It's important to remember that this story was originally published in People magazine.
I love this story.
This story was written by Rick Stanley, who was Elvis's stepbrother.
I love this story. I love this story.
One afternoon, my mom pulls up in a beautiful Continental with a guy who's a perfect stranger to me. I come out of the boarding school and my mom sitting in the front seat with the guy whom she introduces as our new daddy, Vernon.
Vernon Presley.
And the three of us are ushered into the back seat.
That was Vernon.
Well, as we leave from the school and drive to the mansion to Graceland, all of a sudden, here's this big, beautiful house.
That's where Elvis lives.
The first thing I noticed is these bodyguards. Guys walking around with big guns under their arms.
That's the Memphis Mafia. Those are Elvis's friends.
Inside, I walked down a mirrored hallway, down these steps, and I found it amazing that these big gold records were everywhere.
Those are Elvis's records because Elvis had a lot of gold records, Don.
Elvis was standing over by the record player listening to records. He walks across the room, and I knew the first time I met this guy, he's different.
That's right, he's special.
The next morning, I went outside, and there Elvis was.
Yeah.
But there were cats, dogs, ponies, scooters, bicycles, tricycles, swing sets, 3 of everything.
That's right, Elvis has a lot of animals and a lot of friends.
Like Michael Jackson. You like Michael Jackson, don't you,
I
Charlie?
love Michael Jackson. He's the king of pop.
I felt very much at home when I was at Graceland. We lived with Vernon in a house next door.
Vernon's Elvis's father.
And when Elvis was home, I would go over and see him. Elvis loved to throw the football.
He sure did. He loved football. He loved games.
I'd go out on pass patterns, and we'd do that for hours and hours in the backyard.
Yeah, Elvis was very good.
One evening, he decided he wanted me to mend fences. Well, we went out with a hammer and nails, and I helped him. We put about 10 nails in one board.
Elvis would work in the house.
Just like a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid.
When I was 17 and I was getting into drugs, Elvis figured he could help straighten me out.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to work with me, and he wanted me to be his personal aide.
Right.
But I knew I'd had a difficult time convincing my mom to let me go on the road.
Let him go, Mom. Let him go.
So he told me that I would have a private tutor.
All right.
I would be in church all morning, all these different things.
That's because Elvis could take care of business.
My first trip with Elvis was to Washington, D.C.
In a flash.
We were sitting on the plane. He's on the aisle, and I'm right beside him.
Elvis used to like to sit on the aisle.
Elvis just looks at me, and he goes, "I'm the teacher," with that big grin on his face.
Elvis is the tutor.
"I'm going to teach you everything you need to know.
That's right, he's smart.
And by the way, what you're seeing here on the road, you don't say nothing about it to your mama, okay?"
That's right, Elvis had a lot of secrets on the road.
We got to the hotel. We were there 5 minutes, and all these girls were there.
Elvis liked girls.
All these guys have got these girls waiting.
Elvis liked girls.
None of the wives were ever allowed to go on the road with us.
Oh, no.
And that was one of the reasons why. Elvis looks at me and says, "There are 2 girls I've dated that are going to be here, Joyce and Janice."
Yeah.
Elvis is a married man, and he's got not only 1 girl,
He's got 2.
he's got 2 girls.
2 girls. Elvis liked girls.
That was the night Elvis initiated me into what was called the Memphis Mafia. Elvis called me at 3 or 4 in the morning and asked me to find a cheeseburger in downtown Washington.
Yeah, don't get the creepy crowd.
It was December of 1970, freezing Washington weather.
Very cold.
When Elvis said he wanted cheeseburgers, I said, "Where do I get them?" And he said, "That's your responsibility, man. Find out."
Yeah.
I called the bellman, and the bellman didn't know.
If Elvis wants cheeseburgers, you better get them for him pronto.
So I literally got out in the streets of D.C. to find a place. I put the cheeseburgers inside my coat. I ran all the way back to the hotel, got upstairs. I went in the room, and one of the girls was in there.
Yeah.
I pulled the hamburgers out and handed them to Elvis.
Cheeseburgers.
He said, "Hey, I don't want those, man. I was just checking you out to see if you could do it."
All right.
Eventually, I took care of Elvis when we were traveling. I did everything. I made sure all the meals were taken care of. I took care of his wardrobe and jewelry. And I taped the windows so the sun couldn't get in.
He was very helpful for Elvis. Elvis hated the sun. Elvis hated the sun to come in the windows.
I set up the room and carried the kit that contained Elvis's medication.
Here comes the kid. The kid. This is the big part.
When Elvis would come off stage, it was my responsibility to get a towel around his neck, a glass of water in his hand, and a coat on his back.
He had a very sweaty neck when he'd come off stage.
Then I had to get him in a car and make sure those vents were blowing on him.
Kids in the car. Kids in the car.
Usually in the car, it was mostly just me and him in the back seat with someone driving us.
And the drugs and the kid.
Hold on, Charlie. There's more about the girls.
I know. I'm excited.
There's more about the girls first. Girls were always available.
Yeah, he liked girls. Elvis liked those girls.
Always available.
TCB, baby.
It was just a matter of picking which girls he wanted.
Pick him. He could pick him.
And Elvis wanted a different girl every night.
Pick a winner, eat.
Elvis had to have a girl in bed with him every night.
That's right.
I don't even think sex was involved lots of the time.
No.
Elvis hated to be alone.
He did.
If there wasn't a girl there, I'd sometimes sleep at the foot of Elvis's bed.
Yeah, because Elvis liked people.
He's a people person, Charlie.
He loved people, Don. That's why he wanted a girl in bed every night.
You're a people person, Charlie.
I love people.
When Elvis wanted a girl, someone would find him one. We called it trolling.
Trolling. I'll be up in a minute, babe.
Elvis would look around and say, "It's time to go trolling."
Yeah.
And we knew what that meant. Someone had to go downstairs and select 4 or 5 girls for Elvis to look over. I introduced Elvis to a lot of girls, and members of the entourage introduced him to some.
Don't catch the creepy crud.
It was usually me because I knew Elvis's taste in women. He liked tall, clean girls.
Sure do.
In one of the Vegas hotels, they'd gather together in a lounge area and sit around on sofas and have soda pop and wait for Elvis.
That's right. They'd drink soda. They wouldn't drink any booze.
When Elvis wanted someone to go trolling, I'd just go down and look them over, and out of the 10, I'd pick out 4 or 5. I told them Elvis Presley wanted to meet them, and I'd ask if they'd like to come up to his suite. It was all pretty cool, but everybody knew what was up.
That's right. Elvis wanted the girls to get in the bed.
That's right, Charlie.
Yes, he did.
There was a whole routine.
Because he liked people.
When I was gone, Elvis would get stuff out to talk to them about. Elvis, music, thank you. Elvis carried books on astrology and numerology and that kind of thing with him.
Yep.
So he could make conversation with girls.
He also had lots of magazines.
Anyway, I'd take the girls upstairs, and there he'd be, all smiley and very gracious. Elvis would make women feel wonderful, Charlie. They'd sit around the suite for a while, and Elvis would look at them over while he talked to them.
That's because Elvis was special, Don.
Then Elvis would let me know which one he wanted to stay.
TCB.
And I would take the other girls downstairs.
All right.
I'd tell the one girl Elvis selected. I'd tell her what Elvis liked and what he didn't like. I'd tell her that if things worked out in a way that she decided she wanted to stay the night, there might be some things she would like to know. I told them Elvis always liked to eat in bed,
Yes, he liked to eat in bed.
so I'd set sort of a table on the bed.
That's why he'd send people out for cheeseburgers.
I'd tell them Elvis always ate and slept in his PJs, and I would leave his pajama tops in the bathroom just for them.
That's right.
I would say Elvis demanded everybody around him be very clean, so they might want to take a shower before they put on their pajamas.
Clean up, ladies. Elvis is ready.
I told them they could order anything they wanted to eat, but Elvis hated the smell of fish.
Yes, he hates fish.
So get whatever they wanted, but stay away from the fish.
Don, they wouldn't get fish sandwiches for Elvis because he hated the smell of fish.
I told them they should always brush their teeth after they ate.
Brush their teeth, especially if you eat fish.
Elvis always did that. And I'd put a brand new toothbrush in the bathroom for them. I'd always take a batch of new toothbrushes on the road with us.
All right.
A big double handful.
All right, I hope. He doesn't even like the toothbrushes to be shaped like fish.
I told them Elvis loved to have his back and shoulders rubbed. That was about it. I'd serve him his food, then I'd leave. The kit went everywhere with Elvis.
No fish in the kit.
And I was the guy designated to take care of it.
The kit's very important, isn't it, Don?
Oh, it is, Charlie.
It really is.
Are you liking the story this year, Charlie?
I love this story this year. You're putting in some new parts.
Charlie, normally I don't read the whole article, but this year,
Yeah.
because it's special and you're my special friend,
Thank you.
I'm going to read the whole article, even the part about how, at the end, Elvis lost control of some of his bodily functions.
Oh, dear. Elvis lost control of his bodily functions. When did the part about Hamburger James come on?
Pretty quick, Charlie.
Okay.
The kit went everywhere with Elvis, and I was the guy designated to take care of it.
The kit had all of Elvis's stuff in it.
If I went out for a drive, that meant I brought the kit.
Yeah, bring the kit.
Elvis's kit had all kinds of uppers.
Bring the kit in a flash.
Dexedrine, Black Beauties. Then you've got the Class A Percodan, Demerol, Codeine. There were barbiturates.
All of Elvis's drugs.
Toward the end, there was liquid Demerol and needles. Plus, Elvis had money inside the kit. $10,000 in a wallet, makeup, a driver's license, and a lot of jewelry.
Elvis had a lot of stuff in the kit.
Elvis started taking prescription drugs from his mother when he was a young man. Antidepressants and uppers and downers. His mom was always depressed. She was always overweight and taking diet pills, and Elvis just took them from her pill cabinet.
That's right. Elvis liked him because he was curious about the pills that his mom had.
Well, I'm in Elvis's suite one day, and he yells out to me from his bedroom that someone has been in his kit.
Oh, no. Here he comes. It's Hamburger James.
Elvis said some things were missing, some money, and some pictures.
There'll be heck to pay, boys.
We ran all over the place, and the only person we couldn't find
Yeah, was Hamburger James.
was Hamburger James.
Hamburger James, you're in trouble now. You went inside the kit.
Charlie,
Yes, Don.
Elvis was more than mad.
Yeah, he was really mad.
He was in a wild rage,
Yeah, he was really mad.
and it spread to everybody. You see, Elvis also had some pictures in the kit. Now, I didn't look at them, I think they were pictures of Priscilla.
Mm-hmm.
Hamburger James took some of them, too.
It's a good thing Hamburger James didn't smell like fish.
So Elvis was hot.
You'd really be in trouble.
Man, was he hot.
Yeah.
And everybody's running around looking for Hamburger James.
Where's Hamburger James? Let's get him, boys.
Somebody says, I'll bet Hamburger James is at the airport.
Yeah, because he took money.
We were in Las Vegas at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis screams, get the car. And we race out of the hotel and pile into a couple of cars.
They have guns, too. This is my favorite part.
There were 6 or 7 of us, and we're driving like crazy because someone found out that a plane is leaving for Memphis in just a few minutes.
Get Hamburger James. He stole money from the kid and he smells like fish.
We came screeching up to the airport, and everybody piles out.
Get him, boys.
Several people were wearing guns in their shoulder holsters.
Yeah, real guns, too. Oh, no. Hamburger James, you're going to get shot.
Elvis is right there with us.
Yeah.
Everybody's running up to the different counters and jumping up and down to look over the heads of the crowd, trying to find Hamburger James.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the place is freaking out.
Freaking out.
Women are grabbing their kids and hugging them while these guys with guns run all over the place.
Freak out, boys.
Remember, this was Las Vegas in 1974.
Yeah.
Stars like Elvis are protected in places like Vegas.
Right, they let the stars do whatever they want, Don.
Anyway, it all happened pretty fast. Finally, Charlie.
Finally, Don. You said finally.
Finally, Fun Buddy
Seinfeld
walks up and says he found out the plane for Memphis. He's
Yeah.
leaving at the gate.
Hamburger James is on the plane. He's scared.
So we all run like mad to get up there.
Go get Hamburger James. He win the kid.
The guys are all pounding on the glass, and Elvis runs up to the girl at the gate desk, and Elvis says, Stop that plane. Stop that plane. She ignores him for a second or two, and then Elvis starts to get a little hysterical.
Yep.
She says, I can't stop the plane. Elvis pulls out a police badge.
Right. Elvis used to pretend he was a policeman.
One of the many he'd been given over the years.
Nixon gave him some police badges.
He flashed it at her and he said, I'm a federal officer.
Yeah. Stop that plane. I'm a federal officer.
I said, stop that plane. Then the lady sees it's Elvis Presley, and she goes all buttery.
Yeah, buttery. That means she cries.
And she starts whimpering something like, oh, it's you.
That's right. It's Elvis, the king of rock and roll.
Can I have your autograph? Oh, Elvis. And he's yelling, stop that plane. I'm a federal officer. I'll tell you, I want that plane stop right now.
I bet Elvis will give her the autograph if she lets Elvis on the plane to get Hamburger James and when the kitten smells like fish.
She's looking at him sort of funny, and he's looking at her both mad and confused and kind of flattered all at once.
Yeah.
I never did understand why. But the plane stopped and pulled back up to the gate.
It's a miracle! It's a miracle!
They opened the door,
The plane's coming back! Hamburger James is in trouble now.
and Elvis's bodyguards ran down the aisles, and there in the back
Yeah, there he is.
was old Hamburger James, all huddled down and hiding.
Peekaboo, peekaboo, I see you, Hamburger James.
Charlie,
Yes, Don.
they dragged him right up the aisle,
Yeah, he was kicking and screaming.
out of the plane and out of the airport.
Crying like a baby.
Hamburger James was wailing and crying and trying to get away.
Time to TCB, baby.
Some of the guys were punching him every once in a while
Yeah, well, he went in the kid. I'd punch him, too.
to get him to be quiet.
Punch him. Shut up, Hamburger James.
I'm sure Hamburger James thought that we were going to take him out in the desert and dig him a grave.
That's what they might have done.
We race back to the hotel, and Elvis's people drag Hamburger James into the elevator.
They dragged him. He didn't want to go because they thought they were going to kill him.
They take him up to Elvis's suite, and they throw him on the couch.
Throw him on the couch, boys.
Elvis walks up, and the crowd of people parts.
Yeah, this is the best part.
Hamburger James is sobbing like crazy and scared to death, Charlie.
He's such a baby, Hamburger James, but he went in the kit.
Elvis walks up in front of him. Then Elvis leans down
Yep.
and picks up a big, heavy coffee table.
Oh, you're in for it now, Hamburger James. Elvis is gonna throw. He's gonna throw the cocktail table on you.
He doesn't say anything.
No.
He's dead quiet. I'm thinking, oh no, Elvis is going to murder him.
Gonna murder him with a cocktail table.
He's going to smash him on the head with that table. How are we ever going to talk our way out of this?
Because Hamburger James went in the kit.
But Elvis puts the table down to one side.
Yes, he does.
Then he walks up to Hamburger James and he looks at him real cold and quiet.
Right.
Then Elvis reaches over while Hamburger James is looking straight at him, scared to death, and Elvis slaps him twice.
Yeah.
Like in the movies. A slap and then a backhand.
Yep.
Pow! Then pow again, Elvis slaps him.
Elvis slapped Hamburger James right across the face.
And Charlie,
Yes.
then the most amazing thing happened.
This is a Christmas miracle, Don. This is a Christmas miracle.
Hamburger James got a funny look on his face and wilted up like a baby.
He cried and cried and cried.
He cried and cried.
Cried and cried.
Like his heart was broken.
It was broken because he was so sad that he went in the kid.
He said he was sorry he stole. He's sorry he stole. He's sorry he stole.
Sorry he stole.
And he would give it all back.
That's right, he'd give Elvis the money back.
He knew he had done something that Elvis could never forgive him for.
Elvis is sad, too.
Elvis looked at him for a moment. And then Elvis broke down and started crying, too.
Elvis cried like a baby because he loved Hamburger James.
He just sobbed and sobbed.
Isn't that sad?
He went down on his knees in front of Hamburger James and said he was sorry. He kept saying to him, Hamburger James, why didn't you let me know if you needed money?
If you needed money, you should have come to Elvis. Elvis is the king of all, man. Come to Elvis, he'll give you money, Hamburger James.
Why didn't you let me know if you wanted to go back to Memphis? I would have given you money. You didn't have to steal from me.
That's right. Take care of business, baby.
They cried and cried like that for a long time.
That's because they really liked each other.
And Elvis kept telling Hamburger James he didn't have to leave.
That's right.
He could keep his job and everything. But Hamburger James wanted to go.
He wanted to leave because he was so embarrassed.
So Elvis gave him a few weeks' salary.
Yeah, that's how nice Elvis was.
And somebody took him back to the airport. Elvis wanted to be a tough guy, but he couldn't really.
Oh, this is the good part. Is this where Elvis loses control of his bowels?
This is the last part of the story now, Charlie.
Okay.
Elvis always seemed to care. He seemed to care about people.
Merry Christmas, though.
His acts of generosity towards strangers were something else.
Yeah, he was a very generous sort.
Drugs. Drugs were everywhere in Elvis's life.
That was Elvis's downfall.
In the latter part of his life, they started taking complete control. When he'd fall out of bed in the morning...
Elvis fell out of bed again. Get him, boys.
There was when Elvis would fall out of bed in the morning, there was a handful of uppers, and he'd chase it down with coffee.
Yeah, they were always in the kid. Elvis had lots of drugs.
I'd have to order 3 breakfasts because Elvis would get so out of it on those uppers, he'd be rattling and talking, and his food would get cold.
Yeah, and he doesn't like cold food.
About halfway into the meal, I'd have to have another one sitting there ready.
Yep.
Elvis would get wired like that, and they'd give him Valium or something like that later in the day to take the edge off.
Yeah, he had drugs to bring him up and drugs to bring him down.
Before he went on stage, the doctors would give him uppers. Then when he came off stage, they'd give him downers.
Yep.
And then they'd give him something else to go to sleep.
Don, wasn't
Sometimes.
Elvis very messed up because of that?
Charlie, that's right. That's part of the moral, that you don't take drugs like Elvis Presley, right, Charlie?
That's stupid. That's right.
Sometimes, Charlie, Elvis would get so out of it. During a meal, he'd be sitting there and he'd be nodding off. And you'd have to watch him because he might get a piece of hamburger meat hung in his throat.
That's very dangerous because Elvis was so messed up that he'd choke on his own hamburger, but not Hamburger James.
On more than one occasion, I had to go in when Elvis was choking in bed and reach down his throat and pull stuff out.
That's right. I hope he had small hands.
I had to pound on his chest.
Yeah.
His health was practically ruined by his lifestyle.
Of course it was.
Elvis had real bad eating habits. Everybody was always trying to get him to lose weight, but they had to be careful about making suggestions or he'd get mad.
He'd get very angry because he had a big, big ego.
So they'd do it indirectly, like making sure he'd be within earshot when they'd say something to somebody else like, I had a friend who lost a lot of weight eating yogurt.
That's right, and he didn't take drugs, Elvis.
So maybe later Elvis would start eating yogurt.
Listen up, Elvis.
He'd get those little containers of yogurt and fruit, but it didn't work. It didn't work because Elvis would eat 30 of them at a time.
That won't work, Elvis. That's too much. You're going to get fat.
And he kept doing his drugs. The same thing, Charlie, happened with Peaches.
Peaches?
Elvis got on a peach craze, and he'd eat peaches all day and all night.
That's not going to help you if you still take drugs, Elvis. All the peaches in the world won't help you.
I would find the peach pits everywhere.
Oh, man, that's disgusting.
Sometimes Elvis would just spit them out and throw them on the floor. Here's the last part of the story, Charlie.
All right.
Elvis got to be 250 pounds.
Big boy, Elvis.
It had gotten to the point we would have to take giant spools of saran wrap, giant ones, and wrap it around his stomach to hold his stomach in.
That's right, so he could do all his Elvis moves.
At night, we would have to wrap Elvis in sheets as a giant diaper because he couldn't control his bowels or his bladder.
No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't because Elvis was very messed up.
The saran wrap made it almost impossible for him to breathe.
Yeah.
In the latter part of his life, he was not hitting many notes.
No.
He was just mouthing them,
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
going through the motions.
I did it my way.
As for my stepfather,
Vernon.
when Elvis died, that was pretty much the end of our relationship. I was asked to leave the mansion.
Yeah, get out of Graceland.
We don't need you anymore. That's what Vernon said. He gave me 2 weeks' notice. I'd been making $300 a week, but I hadn't saved anything. I tried to get a job. I worked briefly as a waiter, but nobody seemed to relish my resume.
Yeah.
When Elvis died, it was over for me. I had a little car he'd given me. I went over to a couple of my buddies' house. I slept on their floor and thought of ways of ending it all.
That's right. Well, you should have told Elvis not to take the drugs and not to take the drugs and the kid.
And that, Charlie,
Merry Christmas.
is the reading, the annual reading of the Hamburger James story. Now, as always, Charlie, I want to ask you a couple of questions.
All right.
This is what we call reading comprehension. Charlie, tell me, what did you learn? What is the moral you learned from the Hamburger James story?
If you're going to go to work for Elvis, don't go in the kid and don't smell like fish.
And to all, a good night.
Thank you, Don. That was the best ever.
Charlie, I think it was the best ever this year, too.
Next year, I'm going to bring hot cocoa. I won't drink it during that last part, though.
Okay, that's a good idea, Charlie.
All right, Don.
Charlie, you have a great holiday.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. God blesses everyone, and don't go in the kid.
And you tell your sister Charlene I said she's beautiful, and I want her to have a happy holiday, too.
All right.
All right, Charlie.
Merry Christmas, everyone. TCB.
Bye, Charlie.
There he goes.
Well, there you go, folks. You happy now?
What a beautiful story.
The annual reading of the Hamburger James story.
Man, and folks think that It's a Wonderful Life is the Christmas classic.
Blow off. Hey, Jimmy Stewart, blow off. Stand in line. Hamburger James, he's the man.
That was beautiful.
If he can't steal it, no one can. And we will try to call the real-life Hamburger James when we come right back.
Howard Stern all morning, Don and Mike all afternoon, and G. Gordon Liddy midday. WJFK.